Thank you for telling me my mic was muted. But today we're building this. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I don't really say anything, just the fact that I have a bit of a headache, so it's going to be a little more loosey-goosey today, but we are building the Hobby Hizack, as I was saying earlier. Ooh. And the reason we're building this is because it's July, and it's red, white, and blue. And might be like, but it's also orange. I'm orange. I have orange eyes, it's fine. Ooh. But it's going to be pretty simple today. I'm just going to talk about just random stuff. Actually, on YouTube, it's literally titled, like, I want to talk about dinosaurs and stuff. I think we're going to start out with the stuff, because there's one story I just want to talk about. It's a story I like to talk about, and it's a story of... Well, actually, let me lead into it. So, one thing I always find funny is, if you ever read philosophy, from my experience at least, you can always tell when somebody is, like, a big fan of Play-Doh. Because they'd be a little bit pretentious and a little bit up their own ass. Sorry for cursing. But they'd be a little bit up themselves. And it's like, went on stream you read Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. And in that, Friedrich Nietzsche is just like waffling on. And it's like, he has some good stuff going for him, but he's also just like being kind of a bit of a prick about it. And then it's just like, God, this guy, he's just like... being a real a-hole, like, about all this. Like, he's just making suppositions and running on them to a certain extent. And then he just goes like, God, I love Play-Doh. Hate that Aristotle guy. And I'm like, there it is. It all makes sense now. To know your enemy first, he must sleep with his wife. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That is not a part of Sun Tzu I am familiar with, my friend. Oh, I need to get paper towels out so I don't stain the mat. Oh, hello, Ivan. You changed your profile pic. Ooh. Yeah, it's the Hobby Hizack. Oof, I did take a pill earlier. It's as effective as it's going to get. I was gonna show it on screen, but then I realized I probably shouldn't because I'd probably get banned on Twitch for that for some reason, but it's just an ibuprofen. It's just a generic ibuprofen. But like, you can always like ID a Play-Doh bro. Just because like, again, I don't have a thing against Play-Doh. I will say I am more of an Aristotle fan. So like, of course, like I will say I do have a bias, but I don't hate Play-Doh or anything. I just find that Play-Doh's a little bit overly serious at times and can be a little pretentious, but nothing like all too bad. I say all too bad. When I read Algernon, Flowers for Algernon, it opens with an excerpt from Plato's Republic, and after reading it, the first thing I wrote was, my God, I just went over to Twitter and I typed in, I have never empathized with Diogenes more than having read this like excerpt from the Republic. The most useless, isn't it the only Hizack in Char's counterattack technically? It stops Amuro from beating his ass. I think that's pretty important, to be honest. It's like, no, it's not until the third act are you supposed to beat his ass. I am Diogenes, yes. Which actually is what I wanted to lead into, Diogenes, and how Diogenes was just a troll of a man. Like, we call him a philosopher, but today we just like look at him and be like, this guy's just like an expert troll. And one of his most famous trolls ever is when Plato was like, a man is a featherless biped. And Diogenes sitting out on the streets homeless heard this and was like, I'm gonna make this dude so pissed. He goes over to the store, he goes like, give me that chicken. And they're like, okay, Diogenes, you're not gonna like do anything inappropriate with the chicken in public to make like a point, are you? No. But I'm gonna use it to like mess with Plato. Oh, okay, just here you go. As long as he just like don't do it in public, we don't care. And so what does he plucks all the feathers off of it. Ooh. It was his sister's pseudonym to Common in politics. Ooh. But he plucks all the feathers, walks over to Plato in like the middle of a lesson. Like Plato's giving like some kind of like philosophical lesson, you know. And he just walks in there, holds up the chicken and says, "Behold, a man." And it's just like, and it just gets, ooh. And Plato gets so livid from this that he rewrites his definition for a man to, I think it's a featherless biped with broad, straight nails. And all I can think is it's like, when he did that, you know, Diogenes didn't think, oh no, now I have to like glue nails onto a chicken. He just thought, I won. He had this like clean, simplistic definition. And instead of just, you know, going, I'm not going to take you seriously, he had too much ego and he had to change the definition. And that is an admittance that I was correct. What was I correct about? I don't know, man. That he's a fool. There's an anime that uses old book called The Prince something something by Italian, right? Ah, The Prince by Machiavelli, you mean. Ooh. Machiavelli, who people are like, he's one of the most evil people in history. And so it's like, no, he was just like writing what you're supposed to do in politics at that time, just without the pretense. Like the whole thing is like, we think of it like, oh, it's age of chivalry and knightlyhood, when it's just like, no. You see that guy over there? He's of a similar bloodline to you and can threaten your rule. You need to kill that dude because he doesn't like you. Okay, you can't banish him because he might come back with an army of like foreign mercenaries. You need to kill your cousin now. And it's just like, that was just what politics were in that era. Ooh. And in a modern sense, it is quite ghastly to think about, but he was just told, write a book about how to do politics in this like era of swords and blood. And he was like, I can do that. He's another, I guess you could say, philosopher without the pretense. It's a very famous book, and in a modern context, it's very misunderstood because, again, they interpret it through modern morality instead of the morality of the age, which was far less forgiving. Let's move this over here. But also, back to Diogenes real quick. Ooh. Diogenes was just a crazy dude. He's like, if you're familiar with the content creator Jim, I don't really know what else to call him. You know, I know his old pseudonyms and whatnot, but I don't know. He's just Jim, the content creator Jim. You know, he's been dying of cancer for the last 10 years, and I don't know how that man's alive, in all honesty. The man's been hollowed out by, I think the man has more cancer than he has, like, I think he's just living cancer at this point, which, I mean, I think a lot of the people who hate him would agree with that. He's just an avatar of cancer. But Jim, you know, get a hat for your hat. You know, he's like that. Diogenes was just a guy who's just like, I just don't have time for all like the pretense. Like, what are these? You gonna put on a suit? You're gonna put on a suit? I'm gonna wear a suit in Applebee's. What are you doing? You know, Diogenes and Jim would shoot the shit. Ooh. Let's get that. Ooh, funnily enough, that's the plot of one of the episodes of the anime. Totally forgot. Oh, I got it. If you remember it, I'll probably check it out. Or I'll at least look it up to see it. It'll probably take me a while before I watch it, because I'm pretty bad at that, I'll admit. Diogenes was a guy who just didn't care. He was a homeless dude who preferred the company of dogs over people, because, you know, dogs were cooler than people. So, a man after my own heart. Ooh. Let's get some water. But what Diogenes was such a troll that Aristotle, when he was teaching Alexander the Great, told Alexander the Great about him. He's like, yeah, you know, there's this dude, like, you know, my teacher Plato, you know, the guy who taught me. There's this dude named Diogenes, and all he did was just troll the hell out of, like, Plato, just whenever he wanted to. Like, he'd never, like, keep it consistent. Like, he'd go, like, weeks without doing it, then just one day walk in and just absolutely destroy his theses with just his feces, effectively. Like, the man was an absolute insane character. And like, this guy was so crazy that in the middle of conquering the known world for Alexander, he literally was like, hold up. This is the city that Diogenes lives in. We need to stop the campaign real quick. And like, just all the guys are on leave while I go talk to this dude named Diogenes. It's an isekai anime. The Bilibili app. Ooh. I know an isekai that actually uses the fact that it's an isekai to the most is Tanya the Evil. Because in Tanya the Evil, she constantly references like World War I and World War II battles and whatnot. Like, and that's how she's able to predict the outcome of things to come. Ooh. And it's one of the, and it makes it being an isekai a lot more relevant than I find a lot of other isekais manage to do. A lot of times I always ask myself in an isekai, like, why is it an isekai? Why are they from our world, or from a similar world, rather? So the earliest hero rebuilt the kingdom? How a realistic hero rebuilt the kingdom? Then you would want Machiavellian the Prince for that if you're doing a medieval, if you're building a kingdom in a medieval period, you would want to reference Machiavellian's the Prince. I will put that down. Thank you. But with isekais and Tanya the Evil out of the way, let me find. I want to tell you about when Alexander the Great met Diogenes, but I need to find. Here it is. I need to find something to scrape off this extra. Ugh, I'm gonna have to clean that up later. But what happened was Alexander the Great goes up to Diogenes, like he finds him in the street, you know, just hanging out in his pot. Diogenes lived in a pot. He literally lived out of the equivalent of like a medieval cardboard box. That's how base this guy was. Absolute legend. And he finds Diogenes, and we know for a fact this is how it happened. It's like one of those scenes from a movie where a guy's just sunbathing and then somebody steps in front of them and they have to like, you know, look up through, like they actually have to like, you know, divert their eyes and see who's blocking my shade. That's what Alexander the Great did to Diogenes, and Diogenes just stood there completely unimpressed. A guy with an army behind him in like the finest clothes of the era, obviously like a warrior king, and Diogenes was just like, hey. And Alexander the Great was like, I am Alexander the Great, conqueror of the known world. And then Diogenes was like, okay. And he's like, I am the greatest conqueror now or in all of history. And Diogenes was like, uh-huh. And he's like, I rule the known world, not through, like, you know, not through inheritance, but through conquest. No one has greater right to me than to the materials of this world than I, and all this bluster. And Diogenes is like, cool. And then Alexander the Great says, ask of me anything, and I shall give it to you, Diogenes. They reference the book of the whole season. I heard the second season. Ooh. Oh, so it's literally the Prince the anime, which is gonna be interesting. Actually, that makes it even more interesting. But like all this stuff, like he's doing all this bluster, selling himself, like saying how he can give him anything. And Diogenes is like, anything. He's like, yes, anything. Anything of this world, yes. You'll do anything for me. And he's like, I'll do anything for you, Diogenes, you know. And Diogenes just looks at him, and without even thinking about it goes, can you move 2 steps to the right? You're blocking my son. And Alexander the Great is just blown away by this. A man is offered the entire world on a stick. Like, he's like, I'll give you my entire kingdom if you ask for it. And Diogenes is just like, nah, man. You were, like, I was sunbathing and you took that away from me. Only thing I want from you is my son back. is the light back. And Alexander the Great was so just impressed by just how little F's Diogenes gives, how much of his own king he was while living in squalor, that Alexander the Great said, "Truly, if I was not Alexander the Great, I would wish I were Diogenes." And Diogenes looked back at him and said, "And if I were not Diogenes, I would also wish I were Diogenes." That's one of my favorite just stories. Because it's such an it's such a great thing to say. And if I wasn't me, I'd also want to be me, dude. I'm pretty awesome. Oh my god. I suppose that's true. It's either Alexander or Flop. And Diogenes was like, I'm already used to being at the flop. I'm already used to being at the lowest. So you know what? I think I'll stay here. It's my comfort. Damn, even the episode names are quotes from the book. Actually, I re-listened. We're supposed to be talking about dinosaurs. We're supposed to be talking about Jurassic. We'll get to Jurassic World. Don't worry. But I also want to talk about This Is America, because that's the first thing that caught my eye in the notes. And how, for the longest time, I'd only ever watched the music video once, because I was, like, recommended it, and my model is, like, really far to the left. What the hell is happening? Before you know it, I'm gonna try to run for New York mayor. Jesus Christ. Okay. But where was I? This Is America, and it always is like boiled down to like, oh, the song's just about police violence. And I was like, I watched the music video once, and it's about a lot more than police violence. Like, there's one segment, there's like a 5-second segment, maybe 10-second segment in the entire song about police violence. The overall song is not about police violence, and it's a lot deeper than that. And I rewatched the video, and I was like, yeah, it's way deeper than that. I looked through the lyrics, and it's way deeper than that. Ooh. It's really about, like, black culture in America overall, and some of its more self-destructive and kind of self-enabling behaviors. And it's actually, like, a pretty deep song in that regard, about how we want to, like, you know, and it's actually ironic that people simplify it to, it's just about police brutality, because the song itself is about obfuscating the issues in the black community, so as to, like, not address the issues in the black community. So the fact that at one point he brings up the police in the song, all the people are like, well, that's the focus of the song, instead of everything, and ignore all the other parts of the song. Really, really, really interesting to see that. Oof, are these gonna be stickers? These are all going to be stickers. And I wish I could paint them, but I don't have orange paint. I have Gundam red paint somewhere. But I always felt like I was going crazy whenever people were like, oh, the song's just about this. And I was like, it's about, like, way more than that. Am I, like, misremembering? And it's like, no, I'm not. It very much is about way more than that. You're a sick world. Ooh. See here. Oh, I need to get. God, there are a lot of sprues in this. Like, for a high grade, there are a stunning amount of sprues. Luckily, it's a Hizack, so like all the piping is smooth because it's, you know, Zeta did that. Because Zeta was like, that's just too much detail and too much work to make all the pipes so ribbly like in the original. It just takes too much time. So they smoothed that out so they could have like more mechanical detail other places, which is really nice about Zeta Gundam. Where are... I don't want to talk about Walking with Dinosaurs yet. I want to talk about the bad dinosaur movie first, which apparently Jurassic World Rebirth is apparently like, I don't know if it's way better, but it's like noticeably better than like Dominion and Fallen Kingdom. And I have not seen Dominion and Fallen Kingdom. Not at all. So hearing that, I'm just like, how can that be true? Like this movie is incredibly paint by numbers, and if you've watched film before, pretty much everything you see in it, you're going to predict. And when you're wrong, you're just going to be upset that you're wrong. Not like, you're not going to be like, oh, I was wrong, they subverted me. You're going to be like, oh no, they just didn't do that for some reason. Ooh. But you're like, oh hey, here's the evil, like here's the corporate man who just wants money in this movie that is just like extorting your nostalgia so you'd go to see it in the theaters. But here's a corporate man who just wants money. Oh, so he's gonna die horrifically and in an incredibly stupid way. Yeah, he does. Oh hey, here's a cast of like mercenary characters for the crew. Oh, so all of them are gonna die. Here's one who's a really big jerk. Ah, he's gonna die first. Yeah, he does. Here's a family. Oh, well, the kids are off limits. Yep. And the dad is off limits because he needs to learn a lesson about appreciating his family, even though he's like taking them on like a sailing thing. Like, even though he already appreciates his family, but he's gonna have to learn a lesson to respect his family more for some reason. It's quite the thing where like, ooh, you can kind of see where like everything's gonna go ahead of time. I haven't cared for Jurassic World either. I'm not really sure why I bothered to watch this one. I just did. But I feel like the whole movie can be set up in how nonsensical and like contrived and silly it is, in the simple fact that the whole film starts off 17 years ago at like an offsite for where they made the like things like the Indominus Rex and whatnot. Why did they do it on an offsite on a completely different island when that didn't exist in the past? Like, why did they do this retcon? So that way they could have this island for things to happen on. And you might be like, but there's already like an island that this was happening on. That's how the like Spinosaurus was made. Like they're literally copying the Spinosaurus story, but also inventing a new island to do it. Yeah. Anyways, yes, they're retreading ground. Don't worry about it. But they, goodness. Okay, opening. So the opening is happening, and what it is like there's a sealed, it's a sealed off, you know, medical, like medical research area, because, you know, they're working with dinosaurs and whatnot. And there's this fat white dude with a beard, just absolute stereotype. Whatever you're imagining, that's what he is. And he is eating a Snickers bar before going into the, I don't know what it is, the distorted Rex or whatever, like its cage. And what happens is that he drops the candy wrapper on the floor. When he goes through the door, a magical wind picks up the candy wrapper and has it follow him. And then when he goes through the second door, it follows him, but right before it follows him out the second door, it gets sucked into, and it doesn't fall into, it gets sucked into an air vent in the second door, which then causes the second door's gears to grind up and stop working somehow, which then opens every door in the containment area. Now you might be like, wait. You mean it creates a lockdown that closes every door in the containment area, locking him in with the monster? No, it opens every door in the research base. And so everyone has to abandon the research base because all of the mutant dinosaurs have escaped. And I don't know who thought of this security system, but imagine. Jesus Christ. I can't even think of. Imagine if when you shut your door to go outside and you lock your door, if there's a candy wrapper in your door somehow, like it gets stuck in your door, and what that causes is all of your doors to explode open in your house and all of your windows to shatter, and then an alarm to go off to tell everyone in the area, hey, this dude, he has no security in his house. Come and steal all his shit. That's what happens at the opening of the movie. And it's the funniest part of the entire film because they take it completely seriously. And it does not improve from there. Because then they go like, hey, we need to go to this new island. And it's like, why do we need to go to this new island? It's like, well, we need to cure heart disease. Okay, that escalated very quickly. What do you mean cure heart disease? Well, dinosaurs don't suffer from heart disease. I'm gonna stop you right there. You are not going to harvest the dinosaur heart juice to cure heart disease, are you? That is exactly our plan. Chat, they ripped off Deep Blue Sea. And no, they do not have a lovable rapper playing a chef in this film. They, of all the things, there's no Samuel L. Jackson. There's just, it's just, they just, I don't think they actually like went like, yes, Deep Blue Sea is what we're going to be like, we should do that. But it's just, that's the same plot for Deep Blue Sea. It's like, we have really big sharks with really big brains so we can harvest the brains to cure Alzheimer's. This is literally, there's really big dinosaurs with really big hearts and we need to harvest the blood to cure heart disease. And it's just like, oh my god. How did we get here? I don't know, but we're here. You might be like, wait. If you want to cure heart disease, instead of using a pterosaur, a lizard, because that's what a mosasaur is. It's a really big water lizard. And what was the other thing? And a titanosaur, which is the only actual dinosaur that they're getting blood from. Everything else is not a dinosaur. Those other two things are not dinosaurs. And it's like, instead of that, why don't you just go to like a blue whale, which has really big hearts? Like, a blue whale has a bigger heart than all of these dinosaurs possibly combined. And it's like, well, no, because we decided only only dinosaurs and also things that aren't dinosaurs are immune to like heart cancer and like heart disease. And it's like, what are we doing here? And also, like, wouldn't you have like all of the genetics for these animals in like a data bank or like on tap, that if you need the genetics for these animals, you could just go to a computer and find the like amino acids that like make up like this animal and just, I don't know, use the database with references. Great Blue Sea was fun. Great Blue Sea was fun as hell. Like, I am not gonna die! Like, Samuel L. Jackson giving his big heroic speech about how they're gonna get out of there and how he's not gonna die there. And then at the end of the speech, when he's saying, and like, I am not gonna die in this base, the shark comes, because he's making the speech in front of like a submarine hole, you know, like a diving hole. And the shark just comes out, grabs him, and pulls him under. It's the funniest thing ever. It's just like, and they intended that to be like, see what we did there? We killed Samuel L. Jackson. That movie perpetuated the myth that Samuel L. Jackson dies in every movie, and I would like to thank it for that. Ooh. There is a lot of 2000 movies where oddly Samuel L. Jackson, though, dies a lot. Like, before that, he doesn't die. After that, he doesn't really die. But during the 2000s, Mace Windu, Deep Blue Sea, not Snakes on a Plane, but it was so bad that people joke that the final scene of Snakes on a Plane, when he's surfing, a shark comes out of the water and eats him. It just became a really weird stereotype for a long time. Moon Pool. It is called a Moon Pool. I forgot about that. But that perpetuated a very funny myth. It's like how people say like Sean Bean dies and everything. Ooh. For a very brief moment, people were like, it was only like the Gray and Star Wars, but I guess that was enough for people almost to think that, what's the guy? Leslie Nielsen. Wait, no, Leslie Nielsen's the funny actor. The guy who's in the new Naked Gun, not the guy in the old Naked Gun. But that guy, like, for a brief moment, they're like, he dies and everything, because he died in Batman, he died in Star Wars, and he died in The Gray. And it's like, yeah, but, like, everything else he didn't die in. It's like, yeah, I haven't seen those movies. I didn't see those ones. It's fine. Liam Neeson, thank you. Neeson. Whatever. Leslie Nielsen is messing up my brain. Leslie Nielsen was a great actor, absolutely amazing. But they have to go to the island, and all the people you expect to die. Like, again, as I said, like, there's one character who's just an a-hole. He's just like, I'm a big, tough, mercenary man. So what he does, like, is immediately dies when, like, a bunch of Spinosauruses attack. Like, he fires his gun off once at really kind of nothing in particular, and then gets eaten. Cool. Then there's, like, this woman who's, like, just there as well, who's a mercenary. And they all survive. Everyone else survives, but then, like, they outrun the Spinosauruses, which are chasing them in the water because they're on a boat. And they outrun the Mosasaur because the Mosasaur can't get into the shallow water. Okay. But then there's just a Spinosaurus on the shoreline, and it just decides, oh, hey, this, like, random woman, I'm gonna eat her. And it's like, what about, like, the other 5 people there? Because you're a Spinosaurus. Like, you're a very big dinosaur. Like, you could easily, like, also eat these other people, you know, and they're, like, right there. And it's like, no. This one woman, which would be, like, you know, a potato chip for me, I'm just gonna eat her. And it's gonna be really dramatic. Like, I'm gonna pull her, like, away. Like, it's gonna be like, we're gonna watch her literally get pulled away into the ocean. And it's just like, it's Jaws or something. It's like, well, what are we doing here? Like, it's a very silly film. Ooh. I wish they made a GM Cannon Thunderbolt version. The GM Cannon itself already looks so good, but I know what you mean, just getting that higher detail version. But actually, I don't think I ordered the GM Cannon, but honestly, if it got on sale again on P Bandai, I probably would. I'm a big sucker for shoulder cannons, and the GM Cannon just looks so clean. The appeal of the GM is the fact that it's just, I don't want to say a stripped down Gundam, it's just a really clean mech. Where everything else is so stylized, the GM is amazing in the fact that you can add to it. And you can't really go too much in a wrong direction when you add to it. Like, if you want to put a Gundam V-fin on it, it looks cool still. Like, it's just a really, really cool, like, it's a canvas mech. And even though, like, Gundam has gunpla and whatnot, the gunpla are, like, you know, interesting in how you combine them. But the GM itself is just the most blank canvas mech, which isn't to say it doesn't have a personality, it does. It's to say that it can go in the most directions, it feels, from its base form, which is what the Federation did with it in canon. They're just like, okay, here's a GM Sniper, here's, like, the, you know, the GM 2, here's the GM da-da, like, all the GM variants. Like, I don't, like, where Xeon was making, you know, 1001, like, mobile suits that they could not, you know, fund, the Federation was just like, screw it, we're just gonna make a bunch of gyms. Naked Gun, isn't that the new trailer? Yeah. Yeah, there's the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, but originally Naked Gun was made with an actor named Leslie Nielsen, who is absolutely a legendary comedic actor. And it's actually kind of funny because he was originally a dramatic actor. He was actually a like TV drama actor, but he could deliver his lines. He could say the most absurd things you've ever heard somebody say in a deadpan delivery, just straight-faced. that it created this humor that was just very unique to him in like his comedic roles. So he could just pretty much do almost any comedic scene with a straight face and deliver it with like this earnest sincerity that wasn't like ironic or overbearing, but just straightforward of like, you know, decades of acting, you know, just background in like in drama, that it created a very unique, very funny delivery for his characters. If you've ever seen Airplane, he's well known in that. You know, you just have the lines like, oh, you know, like people got food poisoning because on the plane, you know, there was fish and then there was roast beef. And like, I don't remember exactly, but it was like fish gave you poisoning, the other dish didn't. And Leslie Nielsen just goes like, ah yes, I had the pork. You know, he just like, yeah, he just will say random things and just do it in a straight face and just keep going. While they're trying to like land the plane, he just comes into the because Airplane is a spoof off of disaster film, so it's supposed to be like a plane that like a passenger has to land. But while they're landing it, he just comes into the cockpit and says, "Good luck, we're all counting on you." And then like after they land it, he comes back into the cabin and just goes, "Good luck, we're all counting on you," and just leaves again. Ooh. You can find plenty of clips of him from Naked Gun, just to see how funny he is. Ooh. He's definitely a riot. Yeah, all of it was just deadpan. Not as deadpan as oh, what's his name? I forget he's like Wright or something, but there's a comedian who just does one-liners in a deadpan and it's really funny. He just goes, "I installed a skylight. My neighbors are furious." Like that's his entire comedy, but he just keeps rapid firing them. So it's just, God. I think it's Stephen Wright, if I'm remembering correctly. It's not as deadpan as Stephen Wright, where he sounds dead inside while saying some of the funniest things you've heard in a while. Ooh. It's just again earnest and serious, and it's very, very. It just sells the character so well in such a like. It's not the character that's silly; it's the world around him, and he's like still portraying it as a serious character, and that's why it works so well. Like his characters work so well because the comedy is in the world itself. And so you don't need to have somebody, you know, like turning to the camera, because we already know it's silly. We already know how absurd it is. So having a character who's just there, taking it seriously, makes it feel even more absurd. Because we know that, like, it's not serious. Really? I need to organize my... I need to download more music again, but I also need to organize my playlist. Because I want to have a jazz playlist, I want to have a classical playlist, I want to have the scratchy records playlist, so those are isolated. Ooh, and I think actually we might be done with prep. What time are we at? Oh, 45, wow. I thought this was going to have a lot more prep to it, but I guess not. Yeah, that's... Ooh. Their names are pretty similar. That's why I was mixed up, as I said earlier. I don't know if Neeson is going to be able to pull it off. Like, no shade against Neeson. He's a great actor. But I almost feel like a better choice, and this might sound weird, but hear me out. A better choice probably would have been, and I think he's old enough to play the role, in all honesty, Robert Downey Jr. Just based off of, like, one, his acting skills, and also Tropic Thunder. Just, like, I don't think I need to, like, say more, but in Tropic Thunder, he plays a very straight character whose absurdity is what he's doing and saying, while he's never really acknowledging just how crazy of a person he is. Ooh. It might have been intentional, but I also think it's just the fact that Neeson is known as being so serious, and they're hoping to get off of like that train. Is this a question if he can deliver the lines seriously, but also not overly seriously, like not like I am being over the top for comedic effect. That's what made Nielsen, that's what made Leslie so good, is that he didn't try to add the comedic effect, is that his performance itself was the comedic effect of being a serious man in a silly world. Actually, Robert Downey Jr. is also just a hilarious actor in general. I'm gonna have to clean this off real quick, because that is going to ruin the brush. Okay. Because if you've ever seen Tropic Thunder, as I said, but the commentary track of Tropic Thunder is just as funny as the film, and a large part of that is because where everyone else is like trying to talk about the movie, I've actually said this on stream before, but whatever, is you just have Robert Downey Jr. just as Kirk Lazarus playing like his character in the movie. Like he doesn't have an Australian accent like Kirk Lazarus. No, he's playing like the sergeant character, so he just has the accent that he has throughout most of the movie, and he's just like, and he's just doing that he's just in character the entire time. And it's really, really funny, and he's just like firing off jokes while like Ben Stiller and Jack Black are just like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like, I want to talk about the film, but Robert Downey Jr. is just keeps saying really funny things that just like take us off topic. Ooh. But sadly, Robert Downey Jr. is too busy making Marvel movies, even though his character died. So I guess, you know, they couldn't get him, which is insane. The fact that they were like, you know what? We need Doctor Doom to be Robert Downey Jr. And it's like, but he already played Iron Man. We know he's going to play Doctor Doom, you know, pretending to be Iron Man, you know, and it's just like, that's a joke, right? Like, no, he's gonna use his similarity to look like Iron Man for publicity, but he's also going to, in the process, ruin the legacy of Iron Man. It's like, what? What was that last part? Oh my god. Marvel, can you do me a favor? Can you not be postmodernist for like all of 2 seconds? People call it postmodernism, but I do not think what we are living in is a postmodern age anymore. It's literally postmodernism, but that sounds stupid. It's like neo-post, man. Ooh. It's a silly thing. It's a silly world we live in. Oh god, what was happening in Jurassic World? We got completely off topic. Not really much else happens in Jurassic World. The family has, like, you know, family moments. They literally, while they're getting chased by the dinosaurs on the boat, jump off the boat. And even though the dinosaurs are literally trying to, like, get the people on the boat, not a single dinosaur tries to kill them when they're off the boat. They just get off the boat and swim into a lagoon and they're fine. I don't really know how that happened, but they just jump off the boat. The girl, like it's 2 daughters, a dad, and a boyfriend for the daughters, which is insane, because I would not take a boyfriend of one of my daughters on, like, a sailing trip around the world, especially if I hated him, which the dad does, but whatever, he's a pushover, I guess. Anything like that would be an arc, you know, the dad becoming, you know, less of a pushover, less of a pussy. But then you remember it's 2025 and this is Hollywood, and they don't understand that concept. That's toxic masculinity. Get out of here. Just be gone with you. that idea you had of natural character development, no. LA looks like Mad Max after the fires, probably. After the riots, probably. It looks like Demolition Man. That's what it looks like. Demolition Man is becoming more and more... It's not accurate by its dates, but my god, is it more and more accurate by its depictions every day of reality. Ooh. Of course, the one... actually, it's post... It's not post-apocalypse. It's actually post-dystopia. But it's like... It's false utopia is what it is. It's kind of an interesting genre in itself, but... It is... Like, the dystopia already happened, and now we have a utopia, but it's actually just a repressed... like... retarded, and by retarded, I don't mean like... I don't mean like, you know, mentally retarded. I mean like a held back, a slowed down society. It is a society that's like holds itself back and represses itself, creating this very kind of like passive aggressive toxicity within it. And it's just way more accurate than like every other like post-apocalypse or, you know, dystopian fiction. It's crazy. Ooh. No, there was a rave at one of the stadiums, and there was like a fire effects, and the outside was... Jesus Christ. Well, it hasn't got... You see, LA is in the dystopia phase. It's not in the false utopia set yet. It's not that part of Demolition Man. It's the opening of Demolition Man, where everything's on fire. I think I posted that during the LA fires, which... a little inappropriate, I will admit. But at the same time, I mean, when you see the Hollywood sign on fire, and then you remember this is how Demolition Man opens, is it wrong of me to make that connection? Yes. Is it amusing to me? Also yes. Is that wrong of me? Yes. I'm not unself-aware that I'm a terrible person. This is... Oh! Wait a minute. There's so many polycaps in this that I'm a little confused. That the shoulder... This is a really... I don't think I've ever seen a shoulder unit like this before. I can imagine. Probably look like... Probably look like they're... You had all the, you know, the top ritzy people in the inside of the Thunderdome, and then all the... Well, not on the inside, but on the inside of, like, the... Watching the Thunderdome, and all the lower classes on the out. 15. There's 15. I mean, California is closer to Mad Max than Australia is, to my knowledge, because California is just constantly becoming a worse and worse desert. It's just becoming a harsher and harsher climate, which is literally part of the story for Mad Max. So that happens after... Well, the ecological collapse in Mad Max happens after the World War, which causes a new ice age, which causes all of the sea levels to lower. And that's why everything is even more of a desert than it already is in Australia, because places like Sydney were nuked off the map. So all the coastal cities, the entire coastline of Australia is uninhabitable because of fallout. While inner Australia is uninhabitable because it's inner Australia. And where inner Australia used to be like a desert that got very little rain, now it's an inland desert that gets even less rain. God, that world sucks. But that I don't mean it's badly ran. I mean, that is just one of the worst worlds. Australia is probably one of the worst God. It's probably one of the worst places that got it in Mad Max's world, actually, which is ironic because usually Australia is forgotten about in post-apocalypse and whatnot because it's Australia. Like, I remember that there was like this really viral video back in the early 2010s. It's like, that was like about like how the world ends or whatever. and it was just like about like how America nukes Russia, who nukes America, who like nukes this person, like it's like all this stuff is happening, and then it's just like nobody cares about Australia, so it's just there, you know, and then eventually there's like, then Australia dies. I can't remember that video though. There's like this old like video just about how everyone eventually, how the world ends, and it's just very comedic and very poorly drawn. It's like in that old like Ultimate Showdown art style, which is to say like they drew everything on MS Paint with like with a mouse, and it still probably looks better than what I can draw. Speaking of which, look at my picture, chat. Look at my drawing for the day in the corner. Ooh, I did a little bit of a Andy Warsaw, and I put a bunch of filters on a picture that I made. So actually there's a point for all the filters. Yeah, I did this correctly. There's actually a point behind all the filters. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. I don't know if I am. But it's the picture itself. The eyes have it. The picture itself is based off of In the Air Tonight. And I explained this on Twitter, but I haven't explained it here. I need to like look at this closely because I'm confused. I listened to the song In the Air Tonight. Okay, I see, okay. And coincidentally, a friend, well, you can probably tell by the eyes, Area Lulu on Twitter just the next day just went, "Ah, yeah, I can feel it in the air." And like that was and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be like romance summer. I'm just gonna rewatch a bunch of romances." And I was like, "That's," and just her just saying, "Oh yeah, I can feel it in the air." I was like, my brain flashed with just Phil Collins in the music video with his face like in like really harsh lighting. And I was just like, but it just like, I just replaced it with Airy, and I was like, I'm gonna draw that. And for the last week, I've just been I drew it and I've been digitizing it. I've spent a long time working on this. And ooh, I see. That's neat. So the reason it's folded in like this is because when you push it in, it's going to be like this now. That's actually really, really neat. There we go. But but while I've been making this piece, and afterwards I put it through filters because the song is in black and white, so that's why there's a black and white filter. The overexposed filter is just because I accidentally did that, and I was like, that looks neat. And then the green filter is because when the beat drops in, it's weird to say in the air tonight. That's why my brain malfunctioned. When the beat drops in that song, what happens is it kind of like goes to an overexposed negative in color. So like Phil Collins has like a green face now, and the like lighting is just, actually they changed the lighting itself for that part. So I didn't actually get the correct appearance for the inverse for like the negative version of it. But I was like, I'm not gonna redo all the shading on this so I get the highlights correct. I ain't doing that. But that's why it looks like that. I also did the same thing with the finished work, which I finished right before stream. Ooh. And I'll be posting that tomorrow. But that one, where I said my last work that I did, the Airy, which was coincidentally also Airy, which was the How Heavy Are Your Dumbbells one. That one I said like how it was my first digital, and I was happy knowing that I was going to do better in the future. That I was happy to do it, but I was also happy to be done with it and not to dwell on it more, because I saw more mistakes with the line work and what I had done than anything else. So I was like, I'm just happy, I'll be moving on. I'm happy to have done it, but I'm happier to know that like this will be looked back on in the future, and I'll be like, yeah, I was shit, but now I'm not. as potentially toxic as that might be. Ooh. But how heavy is your dumbbells is more of how heavy is your front. Ooh. I need to actually, how heavy is your dumbbells is actually just a genuinely good resource for like exercise, like guides and like workout guides, because every time they like talk about a new exercise, they give detailed descriptions of how to do the exercise over like 2 or even up to 3 pages if necessary. Like they don't like waste like space, like they don't like curtail teaching you how to do the exercises, so it's actually a really good resource, which is one of the best things about it. Ooh. It's also kind of just a nice story about self-improvement. C2, there it is. I would actually recommend it, but I need to like go back and reread it so I can actually just like have some of the references for certain workouts, because I've just been doing the same workouts for the last couple of weeks and I could use those references something bad. You got distracted. One of the things I like about it has to be the subtle improvement of the character, of the main character, whose whole thing is like, I want to get into better shape. You know, of course, that's like their motive, but like their motive is like they're out of shape, they want to get into better shape. Understandable. And if you actually like pay attention and you go through the comic gradually, you can see how the artist over time depicts the character as more and more in shape as they go to the gym more and more, subtly and gradually. Ooh. And it's like a really nice touch of like how they show that, because because they're not like super fat to begin with, so it's a really subtle change over time. Huh? The anime, I find it funny how in the anime, because in the manga they can just like have pages that are just like showing you how to do the workout, but in the anime, from what I remember, like they have like cutaway segments or whatever, where it's like almost like an 80s like workout like video, which is just, or those are like done at the end of the video. I can't remember, like they have extra health tips at the end of the video where they do that, or they also do that for the exercise, like show you how to exercise parts. I can't remember. I think they just show you how to exercise in the gym, and they have like extra like advice in like this 80s looking set. It's a really nice touch though, because it's just like so just old, like, you know, again, just like infomercial, just like, you know, workout, you know, just like, come on now, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, you know, that aerobics guy. Oh goodness. Ooh, that curly haired demon. More into laid back and ooh. Actually, something I need to finish, speaking of just various animes and whatnot, I never finished Nagatoro. Please don't or is it please don't, or is it please stop bullying me? I can't remember, but Nagatoro, the one of the petite tan girl who just bullies the hell out of some nerd. And I remember finding that to be a really endearing story, and I need to go back and finish it. I got through most of it, but I stopped, and then I heard that they finished it like a little while ago. I think I stopped, I think, it was over a year ago. It's been a while. Ooh. That's pretty cool. I learned how to make campfires, like, just because I was a Boy Scout. One sec. Really? Really? There you go, thank you. But for me, I don't have the best memories of camping, because it wasn't actually camping, it was like a week camp where like It's like a boy. It wasn't like a camp that you actually stay overnight at, but it's one of those camps. Wait, no, it was a camp you stay overnight at. They had cabins and whatnot. But ooh, my mother was like the camp director for a camp, and so my entire summer was spent at a camp like multiple years in a row, and it was insufferable because I am allergic to every native tree to the Midwest. And I was heavily asthmatic, and I had a sunken sternum, which means my lungs could not expand to full size. And even though her kids, or at least my brothers, were old enough to, you know, stay home alone and watch me, all of her kids every summer had to go to camp with her for, and mind you, it wasn't like a camp that she had to stay at overnight. She would come home every night. She'd come home every afternoon, really, after work. But we pretty much had to, for several summers in a row, just go to camp. You know, go to camp with her, and it got really, really tiresome after the first week, because it was like a week-long camp. And it's just, But camping itself, so that's always put a bad thing for me in camping, but camping in a more traditional sense I do like, you know, the tents and whatnot. Ooh, though I almost always get sick while camping. If you're talking about like Nagatoro, I do know that's already finished. If you mean the camp one, okay. That means, oh god, I hate when series, like when you get invested in a series and then it's canceled, or they just stop translating it. I despise that. So knowing that something is finished is always nice as well. If you're also talking about the camp thing. Camping is nice. I just don't like it when I was a kid and I couldn't breathe properly. And I got to suffocate several times a day. Because my mother's incompetent. Still crazy, like... I understand why, like, I was not old enough to be left home alone, but I wouldn't be left home alone. I'd be left home with my two older brothers, who were old enough to watch after me while home. So, really, I don't know why she took us to camp every year and just sabotaged our... What's going on here? Sabotaged our, summers. I mean, she was allowed to take vacations from us. Why couldn't we take vacations from her? That's dark, but that's actually just really messed up. That's just genuinely messed up. I don't know, whenever I tell people about that, usually they're really surprised to hear that, like, yeah, my mother just took regular vacations from her family, which... It's just like, yeah, that's not a thing that, like, mothers do? They don't just, like, leave their families for, like, weeks on end? That's crazy. What? You mean Nagatoro? Okay, yeah. You should watch Bakuan. Have I heard of Bakuan before? I'm gonna write it down. God. You know, I always joke about my, like, knowledge of, like, in general being all over the place and spotty. In anime is probably the worst, because I will just be like, here's an anime from the 80s, it's really good. Here's an anime from the mid-2000s you've never heard of, but also really good. I could talk to you about, like, for a while, about one plot point in Blood Plus, and it's the best plot point in the entire series, but I could talk to you, like, for, like, half an hour about, like, Blood Plus. One moment in it easily. And, well, maybe half an hour is an overstatement. But then I'll just, like, other things that's just like, yeah, everyone's seen this anime. I was like, I ain't never seen that one. I don't know that one, that's a thing. I ain't never heard of that. And I just thought of that because I actually just realized, I remembered I have not seen K-On! And that's like one of those classic animes, and like, I haven't seen it. I was too busy watching like Speed Racer out of sequence, man. I don't know what's going on. It wasn't on Netflix, so I couldn't watch it. Grew up camping every summer with allergies and asthma too. We also had cats. I almost died because of a cat because of my allergies to cats were so severe. There were times that I wonder if my mom was trying to kill me. Oh my god. The one time I almost died from a cat was... I know my mom wasn't trying to kill me. She was just very, very dumb. We all agree, everyone in the family agrees, my mom is like some kind of narcissist. So we're just like, yeah, she just doesn't think about other people, you know, all that much. Ooh. Like she can only get so far with concepts of empathy. Like I remember when she was in the hospital to have her appendix burst, and it had actually birthed for like 2 or 3 weeks, which like you're supposed to be dead by then. But she held on because nobody knew it had burst, and then like they had to do a surgery and take out a bunch of her like internal, like they had to take out her appendix, but it had like literally started like killing some of her organs, so they had to take out her. She was like 45 at the time or something, but so she wasn't using them anyways. But they had to take out her ovaries and whatnot, and it was horrible. But I had just like I was still suffering from PTSD from having my own near-death experience in a hospital. And so going back to a hospital and seeing, you know, a family member in a similar state really, really, like, creeped me out in a way, and I had trouble, like, dealing with that situation. And, like, I didn't do anything, but, like, I was very quiet during it. And I remember she, like, got really pissed and like said like, oh, like I don't know, she was just like, why didn't you do more while I was in the hospital? And I was like, because I was a traumatized child, you know. I think what do you mean, like what was I supposed to do? That one still gets me. Like, what was I supposed to do? Like, fucking, like, clone your ovaries and give them back to you? You already hit menopause. Like, they weren't doing nothing for you anyways. I don't get it. Why are you upset at me? Why are you upset at me, of all people, for this happening when it's just your appendix decided to go, screw it. You know, pull out a Browning 5 and go full Kurt Cobain. That was nobody's fault. It just happened. Oh god. Oh! That was terrifying. It didn't happen on screen, but these two pieces weren't going on all the way, so I squeezed them together, and this was in too deep, so it just popped out. I got it though. But let me see if I can recreate it. It's like, I shouldn't try to recreate it. That's stupid of me. Actually, wait, wait. I'm doing something wrong. I've done something incorrect here. And I see. Okay. This wasn't plugged in forward all the way, so this wasn't going into its socket correctly. So now it can go in deeper, and this is a really beautiful kit though, I would just like to say. But now it can go in properly. Ooh. That Oh crap, I just realized on, well, I mean, I just realized on Twitch oh thank god, it's not pinned. I just realized it's not pinned. The Gunpla poll wasn't pinned on Twitch. That's not good. So if you're not familiar, there's a poll going right now for our next Gunpla build after this one, and it's for short kings, mobile suits under 18 meters. We have the Shenrong. That is not correct, Merrick. It is the Shenlong. That's racist. I would like to thank my grandmama for that, you know? I was gonna say, you know, thank you from up in heaven, but I don't think you're in hell, but you're certainly not in heaven yet. You got a few more, you know, you got a few more decades or centuries in purgatory. But you know, straight from her. But we have the Shenron. I did it again. God damn it. That's a Hail Mary. The Shenlong. God. Don't do that ever again, Merrick. We have the Heavy Arms. We have a Man Rhodey, and we have the F91 from F91. The Heavy Arms is from Endless Waltz. The Heavy Arms and the F91 are master grades. The Man Rhodey and the Shenlong and the Man Rhodey are high grades. This is not going well. Oh god. Hello. Hello, welcome to YouTube. You can be on YouTube. You can watch on YouTube or Twitch, whichever one you prefer. But hello, Kai's on YouTube. Ooh. Let's see here. I think we'll talk about... Should I talk about Ryu from Gundam and how he's like one of the most important characters in all of Gundam? And why he's amazing and why he is like my go-to to explain why just... I guess how I'd put it is it's like the difference between Gundam and Gundam SEED? Maybe. Ooh. But in your opinion, Hizack Custom looks better than the... It does. It does. The original Hizack looks really weird. It's effectively like a fatter Jim with a Zaku head, and it's just it's a weird design. I never liked it because it's just... It feels really weird for the Federation to go like, let's build Zakus, which effectively is what it is. To be like, let's build Zakus because the Zaku would have been like a symbol of terror and destruction for the Federation people. So it's just a really weird choice. It's done so that we understand the Titans are bad guys, but I think they could have done that by showing the Titans being bad guys, which they show, you know. I don't think it was really necessary, but the redesigns for the Hizack looks really good. The Hobby Hizack looks good. The Advance of Zeta Hizack, which this technically is, but Edda, who is a long friend of the channel, has it or has built it. I can't remember if she just has it or she's also built it, but she has the Advance of Zeta Hizack, which I want. It's really good. It looks really good. Like, the redesigns are way better. It just, there's something awkward about the proportions of the Hizack and Zeta Gundam. It's the most awkward, I feel like, suit I can think of, because we're all, and it's awkward because it's uncanny. All the other suits, if they're weird looking, you're like, I've never seen that before, so you're like, okay, it's weird, but it's weird in a vacuum. The Hizack is weird, and it's meant because you're so familiar with what a Zaku looks like that everything off about it looks that little bit weird. Like, let me see if I can find it. The head of this has the, as you can see, these two little things here, the struts on it. Those struts on the Hizack originally are way forward. They're like here originally on the Hizack. They are like twice the distance from this back piece, which creates this again, uncanny effect where you're like, it looks like a Zaku, but like everything about it's wrong. Even the visor is wrong. Nami started dual streaming today. Let's go. My brain is blanking. You're gonna have to help me out, Opus. I'm sorry. I'm so out of it. Oh god. Ooh, I have a headache, so my memory recall is terrible if I don't have my notes in front of me. I've been relying on my notes this entire stream. Nami. Ah, I'm so sorry. Rebin Wolf is much more awesome looking. Ooh. Wait, Rebin Wolf. Is that a different name for the Devon Wolf? Rebin Wolf. Oh, no. I was thinking of the Dozen Wolf or whatever it's called, which is... I always say this whenever it gets brought up, but that thing has such an ugly paint job that in the anime they point out it's absolutely hideous. They're like, God, this is the ugliest color I've ever seen on a mobile suit. The Rebin Wolf does look better. I will say that. God, I'm getting thrown off because the Dozen. But the Rebin Wolf does look better. It was available on P Bandai, but I didn't get it because it wasn't quite my flavor. But it's a way better like Zeta feel successor to the Zaku. If they had made that the Hizack, I mean it didn't exist yet, that design, but it's just a way better like conceptual design, and it's way more into the more freaky designs for Zeta, so it would have primed us way more for what we'd see later on in Zeta. Ooh. So I do agree. The Rebin Wolf does. I actually, you're not gonna find a fight for me on that one. The Rebin does just look better. Uh-oh. Sorry that I trailed off there, but it appears that I have made I've made a mistake at some point. I'm like 90% certain. Oh, we're supposed to put stickers there. But A2, oh no, okay, wait. I haven't made a mistake yet. Have I? No. Wait, I'm looking for the vents right now. Give me a minute. I don't know if it's I'm tired or have a headache, but something's wrong with me. My eyes have not started to phase out. I'm not having the vision problem, so it's not tired, it's the headache. A2, there's an A2. Why is there an A2? Where's A2? A2's over there. Okay. Okay. Made Shy Lily's newest. Okay. I'll have to look into her because I do like model artists who stream as well. I always like that because they always have great advice for drawing. Oh yeah, I've seen. I've seen her. Okay. I know who you're talking about when you said the beluga whale. I've seen. Yeah. I've seen her. Ooh. I don't think I've watched a stream, but I definitely know who she is. I'm almost certain I follow her on Twitter. Maybe not. Don't quote me on that. News kit from Advance of Zeta. Advance of Zeta is so good looking in general. Like, a lot of the weirder things from like Zeta Gundam have such nice redesigns, but let me catch up real quick. The Titans should make Gun Cannon Mark II and Gun Tank Mark II. You could do crazy things with like a Mark II gun tank. Just really lean into like the absurdity of something like that. Like, God. Really, I just want to see the gun tank in space again. I just want to see that unyieldy beast in space again. But I wanted to have like either a transformation sequence that makes it look even more impractical, or a transformation sequence that like makes it like streamlined in space. I'm not sure which one I want more, but I want one of them. I want to see that thing. I want to see that thing in space again. That was so wacky. Ooh. Are we being racist to mobile suit colors now? Some mobile suits look way better in different colors. We have to acknowledge that. Sometimes the paint jobs are just bad, like in Merrick, think of what it's called. Like in GQ, I saw somebody redo the paint job for the RX-78 in GQ, and it looks so much better. They made it so that the chest part no longer has that yellow. They made it more uniform and in line with the classic color scheme, like with the classic pattern. It looks 1,000 times better. It looks good now. it's just the paint job on the RX-78 when it's like first shown in the anime is why it looks so god awful. They just didn't care to make it look good because they knew, as I've said 100 times before, it's gonna be red for the rest of the show. It doesn't matter. It's gonna look like this for all of 2 minutes. It doesn't matter how bad it looks. And it's like, but you could have taken 2 minutes to make it look good. I haven't made a mistake yet. Yes, exactly. I would agree with you in Char's counterattack. The Advance of Zeta Hobby Hizack I think looks better because it's normal blue and it's red, white, and blue. But the Char's counterattack, it's like this. It's this weird off blue. I think like it's this really ugly weird off blue. I would agree in Char's counterattack, the Hobby Hizack is ugly. In fact, I thought the Hobby Hizack was one of the ugliest things I'd ever seen originally. And if this didn't have like if this wasn't a different shade of blue, there's no way we'd be building this right now. It is objectively one of the most hideous mobile suits. I need to find my tweezers. We have stickers, and there is no way I can do this with gloves on. And I don't know. Barzon. Okay, I'm gonna look up the Barzon while I'm. The Barzon is also a suit that's I find a little awkward, but I know what you mean by the Advance of Zeta, like, redesign. Ooh. There's something about, like, it that just, like, touches up the proportions slightly that makes it just hit that little bit harder, and I don't know where my stuff is. Ooh. Good. I imagine, like, if it transformed, it would, like, get compressed and, like, be lower to the ground, like a more traditional tank. But then, like, it almost, like, have almost, like, a stand-up mode. Like, I almost imagine, like, it could potentially have 3 modes. It could have, like, a full mode where it just is, like, walking for some reason, but that almost feels like it's cheating. But it at least has, like, a mode where it's, like, fully sitting up and a mode where it's squatted down. It's visually what I'm thinking of, and I need to focus on finding this piece real quick, and I need to have my head go away because it looks awkward when I leave the desk and my model's just doing that. So give me one moment till I find this blasted. There it is. It's somewhere really obvious that I should have known. Okay, I was being a little forgetful because of my headache. There we go. The refined Bazam. I looked it up. I saw it. Don't worry. But yeah, it's just the designs and Zeta, both like the kind of like new, like the whole on new suits and like just the slight like touch up ones. There's just something like they just touch up the proportions ever so slightly to like make it all just fit together that little bit more. Let's get the stickers now. I'd just buy. I'm such a Zaku stan that I'd probably buy a Zaku like an idiot. Thing would be absolutely horrible to pilot because it's like one of the first ever mobile suits of the Zaku 2. It would be it would actually be super expensive because I imagine we'd be living later in the universal century, so it would now be like an antique piece. So now, even though it was really mass produced, it would probably be like more expensive because it's like from the 1 year war and whatnot. It'd either be like super cheap or super expensive. I don't think there'd be any in between for the Zaku. But if it wasn't the Zaku, if I could buy a hobby mobile suit, it'd have to be something mass produced. I really shouldn't buy. The first thing that came to mind was the Dom, just because I'd want to like drive. I would just want to drive it in its hover mode, because I don't know a lot of other mobile suits that just have like a ground effect flying mode that it just hovers over the ground. But that one would also be super expensive. I mean, they're mobile suits. All of them would be super expensive. Oh god. Yeah, we're gonna recolor it and charge it at a premium. Yes, that is very much P Bandai in a nutshell. What piece? Okay. So, I wish I could paint these, because these are... But I just don't have orange Gunpla paint, because I don't really know where I'd get it. The only place I've seen that has Gunpla paint is Hobby Lobby, and they have like 4 colors. And like half the colors are like red, are different shades of red. Maybe if I can find like Gun Tank orange or something. I don't think the Gun Tank has orange on it, but if I can find some orange, I'll definitely take these stickers off and like repaint this. And no, I didn't put it on wrong. Give me a minute. God, I was actually thinking about that in like a modern Gun Tank, if it would just like have a ground effect mode. Ooh. It makes so much more sense. Probably the saddest mobile suit I can think of is the Zaku tank. That thing looks so sad. It's just, they took your leg. Lieutenant Dan, Lieutenant Zaku, where's your legs? You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Zaku. What have they done to you? They turned you into construction equipment. Oh god. Yeah, pretty much. Ooh. Bootleg manufacturers are just getting better and better as time goes on. It's actually a really big problem in Lego, is the fact that Lego is super expensive and you can just buy like bootleg minifigures that are just better, that are as good and sometimes better than like the official Lego kit, like Lego minifigures. Because Lego just charges an arm and a leg for this stuff, and part of it's because their factories are still in the Netherlands, which is commendable. I will say that right now. But the prices because of that just go up so much because everyone else is just doing like third world labor and whatnot, which I don't like. I'm not making like, I'm not saying like they should also do third world labor, but it's like there has to be some balancing of costs. Like you can't just be relying on your name and your brand loyalty to be like getting away with highway robbery. Like there has to be a balancing, because a lot of the pricing of Lego cannot be accounted for inflation. Like their pricing is way higher than the rate of inflation. It is insane. Like they will sell you half the pieces for 150, like for over like a markup of over 150 from what like a similar kit used to cost. Like the clone turbo tank that they're selling now is like $160. And it is like 1/10 the size of the clone turbo tank from 2007, which was $80. Like it's just, they have doubled the price, and they have like 1/4 as many Legos being put into the kits, and the Legos don't hold together as well as the old kits from like over 15 years ago. It's insane. Oh my god. There has to be something in like Netherlands driving up the prices. Like I don't, like normally I'd be like it's corporate greed, but like this is like so much money. For all, but it's also Lego Star Wars, so it could be Disney writing up the prices, because Disney could have increased the contract cost, because George Lucas originally contracted with Lego to get, Star Wars more into the market, but also because the prequels weren't doing so great. So the licensing cost for Star Wars was actually lower, so more people would buy it, so that way George Lucas could fund the prequels more and all this stuff. And Disney, even though they have driven Star Wars into the ground, would be exactly the type of company who would still charge a premium for the contract of like Disney for like Star Wars Legos, I'm betting, for like the licensing of Star Wars. So it would not surprise me if the pricing is almost entirely because of Disney, in all honesty. Because again, Lego prices have gone up, but things that aren't like Star Wars Legos have reason, like I can understand why they cost as much as they are for like the amount of plastic they are. Like before I read that, the Statue of Liberty I got was like $100. And you might be thinking like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. But there's like there's more plastic in that kit than the old Lego set that I said that costed like $80. And really that doesn't cost $100, that costs $100 with tax. So that costs as much as a Lego kit did over, like, let's just say like over a decade and a half ago. That Statue of Liberty that we built last year, that cost around the same amount as a Lego with less pieces from like from again over a decade and a half ago, because you don't have the licensing fee. So it probably is, in all honesty, the licensing fee that's driving Lego so high up in the price for Disney, for the Disney merchandise. Here's a dumb mobile suit repair on low budget. Gun tank head, Zaku torso. Oh my god. The left arm of a vanilla GM, right of a Zagak. The waist cannon of a gun cannon. The left leg of a Jim ground type, and the right leg of a goof. I don't know. Like, is it gonna have a limp? Is it gonna have like one gimp leg? I don't know if those have like the same proportions. It might have one leg that's like half a meter off the ground from the other one, so it might just have a limp wherever it goes. Oh god, you made a gimpy fucking mobile suit. Why would you do that? Ooh. And the back of a Gym 3. God, the Gym 3 is such a... If the Gym 3 is the one I'm thinking of, it's such a, like, forgotten mobile suit. Because everyone knows the Gym, everyone knows the Gym 2, and then they're like, alright, then there's the Gym 3. Anyways, here's the Jagan. I always forget about the Gym 3 myself, even. Ooh. Were we talking about something? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Wait a minute. We were on a topic? We were talking about Jurassic Park? Oh my god, we never finished. Oh no! We never finished Jurassic World! What else happened? I know exactly where we left off. We left off on the beach where the girl gets eaten. So then they're told, like, okay, well, there is a way, we crash the boat into the shore, but there is a way to get off the island. All we have to do is within the next, like, it's, I think, 48 hours. Actually, it's less than 48 hours, but within the next, like, 36 hours, we need to get to the center of the island and fire off a flare that we don't have, to get the attention of a helicopter that will be in the area for like 5 minutes to pick us up. A bit of a weird, like, contingency. Like, you don't have a tracker on you, you don't have a signal thing on you where they can just come to you. You have to go to an area in an island full of killer dinosaurs instead. Okay. So, like, that's what they have to do. But before they do that, they still have to collect all the blood, because that's why they're here. Remember, they're here to collect blood. We're back on Jurassic World, by the way. I think they recreate the idea in PS2 game MS Saga. It's a JRPG turn-based game involving customizing MS. You could probably... Wait. I don't know how much you... Surely you can do that in the new Gundam Breaker or whatever. Is it the Gundam Breaker, or is it the new Gundam game? I don't know if it's a Gundam Breaker, but the new Gundam game that came out a few months ago. Surely you can do it there. Oh, dude, you called it, though. You called it, Kaze. That is what he was talking about. He made an abomination. Good on you. But oh no, this sticker is so tiny. Wait, I need to focus. Focus. Oh, oh god. No, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. That's a really nice shiny sticker. And I do have pink paint that I could use, but that's a really nice sticker, so we're actually going to use the sticker. Don't have Gundam Breaker. I don't have it either. I keep meaning to get it, but then I'm just like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for video games and whatnot. I'm too busy streaming video games and whatnot. I ain't got time for that. PS2 has a lot of games, man. There's a lot of games on PS2. That's a nice game for your hardware needs. And no problem with having a PS2. I have a GameCube, and I want to collect a bunch of old GameCube games. They're gonna be a little expensive. Like I want to get Gauntlet Dark Legacy so bad. I want to get Gauntlet Dark Legacy and do an off collab with somebody. I don't care who. It can be like a family member. I don't care. But my god, Gauntlet Dark Legacy is one of the funnest games ever with friends because it's just a party game where you're just running the gauntlet, where you're just going from world to world fighting endless hordes of monsters. And you just have like this announcer that's this classic mid 2000s announcer just saying what you're doing. He's like, Warrior needs food badly. And you're like, oh my god, I'm about to die, but I'm so hyped because this dude with a deep voice said it. This dude with like an altered voice said it. Whenever you do your ultimate attack, he says out the name of your ultimate attack like it's an anime, and it's just amazing. It's oh my god, it's such a fun game. It's so like it's very simple, straightforward. So like there's no overcomplication. It's just like a classic arcade game brought to the mid 2000s, and it's so nice. Ooh. It's actually considered one of the best like Gauntlet games because it's just a lot of people reference it. It's just like a really good Gauntlet because it is a really good Gauntlet. It's a really really fun game. But I'd love to play it. I still remember like one of the last times I played it was with my best friend Xandir, and what happened was we got to this like Drider boss, you know, like which is just a spider centaur lady. And I just decided just to like for no apparent reason just absolutely start shit talking like the boss. And really it's because I wasn't the tank. My friend was like the warrior, like he was the tank while I was just, you know, I was just the archer doing DPS on the side. It's like, oh dude, I was like, look at this moron, dude, just letting me hit her like this nothing, just ba bam, ba bam, ba bam. I'm just laying into her. She can't do nothing about it. Then she turned to attack me, and I'd be like, oh no. I was like, I didn't mean it. Don't get away from me. I don't like you like that. And she just charged. Is this a really, really, really like? Is this one of those games that you can play, and at a certain point, like each experience is slightly different, and it makes it so that each time you play it, you have a new memory. It's just a really fun game because it's also just you don't need to overly think it, so you can also just shoot the shit with your friend while you're playing. It's a really really classic game, and it's a real shame that it's not like been ported to anything that you can only play it if you have a GameCube. I think it was on other consoles as well. So if you have a PS2, I think you can play it. Ooh, I think actually it's cheaper on I believe it's cheaper on the oh, that's such a tiny eye. So I got a little distracted. On the PlayStation, it's like over $100 if you want it for the GameCube, and it even though it's over $100, it sells really fast. So I might look for it. I'm not gonna look for it because I don't have a spare like $115 to buy it. But it's real nice. Ooh. That's one of my dream though. That's one of my dream streams, even though how silly and kind of stupid it is. Just have fun doing a silly little game like that. Well, it's supposed to be talking about Jurassic World. about Jurassic World. And I forgot to mention the dumbest thing about Jurassic World. And you might be like, well, hey, Merrick, you said the candy wrapper, and that was very stupid on like a plot level. You said the whole, like, you know, we need to get like dino juice. I'm just gonna call it that. It's blood, but I'm gonna call it dino juice. We need to get dino juice for heart medication, and like how that's really contrived, and like what's worse than that? Well, you know how it's called Jurassic World, and how in Jurassic World, whatever the last one was, I don't know if it was Dominion or Fallen Kingdom. That's how little I know about the other ones, but I know that they infested the entire world, and a big plot point of the last Jurassic World is that they're everywhere, and they're actually, like, you know, a threat. They're so pervasive and so they're just outcompete everything. Like, the dinosaurs are just a super species that are killing everything. And how that was a really big plot point in the last Jurassic World movie, and now they're all dead. That's just it. They're just like, all the dinosaurs died. They can't live on Earth. There's not enough oxygen and it's too cold. They're all dead. So you know that dinosaur, so you know Blue from like the last movie that they were like hyping up, and they're like, Blue is our mascot dinosaur. Blue is dead. Oh, sure, they won't show Blue is dead, but by what they talk about, Blue is just by necessity dead. Which doesn't make sense, because dinosaurs, them being like, there's not enough oxygen for dinosaurs. Dinosaurs literally evolved in a low oxygen environment during the freaking Permian period. Dinosaurs have more efficient lungs than humans, because dinosaurs, when they breathe out, when we breathe in, we take in air. When we breathe out, we don't take in any air. When dinosaurs breathe out, they take in air. So when they breathe, they're breathing on the inhale, on the exhale as well. They have twice as efficient lungs as we have. And we know this because we know they had the same lungs as birds, and birds have lungs like that. So saying that there's not enough oxygen on Earth for dinosaurs, which have more efficient lungs than us and evolved during an era with less oxygen in the atmosphere, is really freaking stupid. Blue clue? Wait. Ooh. Gundam idea repair for some budget Zeta Gundam torso. I remember in Double Zeta where they just put a Zaku head on the Zeta Gundam and it looks so crap. I think in the high grade Zeta, this is actually a thing. In the instruction manual for the high grade Zeta, the Revive, they have a part where they're like, you can put a Zaku head on this. But it was before the Zaku Revive was made, so they said like you can put the Zaku head from like 2002 on it. The Zaku, the high grade 017 Zaku head on it. And it's just like, it looks so bad. And I'm kind of upset I don't have a picture of it. Ooh. But I just remembered that. That's one of the most jank repairs, and that's canon. I like how when they put the Zaku head on it, the only have a forward camera. I think that's a really nice touch. They don't have side views in their camera. And like the camera for the cockpit is cut off in Zeta Gundam. It's not a full camera, it's just a forward camera, because that's all the Zaku had for its head. Of course, like, the camera should have, like, you know, there should be, like, other cameras on the body of the mobile suit, but that's not important. It's comedic. It's funny, the fact that they put it on the head, and they just have a forward-facing camera now. Oh, Blue. Yeah, fucking Blue. Oh, you can do the, head Zaku thing on the Zeta Revive by using the GTO Zaku. I know because I already did that. God, where are the stickers? I don't. Oh, this is gonna be a little awkward. I'm going to do the sticker for the visor because I just don't want to paint it. I don't want to wait for all that paint to dry. I took this off with the glove, which was a massive mistake. Ooh, but where were we? Oh yeah, I told you about how um they literally made a piece of like they literally made Jurassic World into Jurassic Islands. Because the only place that dinosaurs live now are on islands, are on isolated islands in like around the equator. Now you might be thinking, how did the dinosaurs get to isolated islands around the equator? I don't know. Like we know how the dinosaurs in the movie got there. They were made there. They were bred there, and that's why they're there because they were put there by people when they were being made. How they got to other islands, which are alluded to in the movie, I have no idea how they got to other islands, but they're like, yeah, they're on other islands. How they got there, I cannot tell you. That is just beyond my knowledge. But I can paint this one. I'm pretty sure it's in a standard head, so it should be compatible with a. I was gonna get it out, chat, and then I remembered that I have it transformed because I prefer it in its transformed mode. So I don't think I can actually show you what heads are compatible with it. Wait a minute, I might actually be able. Because it's a parts former, and yes, I have the torso. Yep. So when we're done with this, we can see if this head is compatible. we can build the head and see if it's compatible to end stream on. Ooh. Okay. Has their own mobile suit. What a Gold Ship would pilot the mobile. That's an easy question. What mobile suit would Gold Ship pilot? The horse mobile suit from G Fighter. That's the only thing I can see Gold Ship piloting. Ooh. I would say that as a joke for any other, like, for anyone else, but for Gold Ship in particular, oh no, that's such an absurd mobile suit that there's a horse mobile suit. And I just feel like that would be really fitting just to see Gold Ship in the in the like mobile suit like pilot costume, but then having to like run around like an actual horse or just standing up on her legs, and so the mobile suit's just standing up on his back legs. That feels like the most Gold Ship thing. Return to horse. One thing I hate is Google is absolutely a worthless app because there is a glitch where Malaysia. But there is a glitch. Oh, you got those like spiky like protuberances. I don't know what to call them, but like they're not mountains, but you have those like things that are like extreme erosion, but like they just look like spikes coming out of the ground. But no, I forget what I was saying because I was thinking about the spikes. Ooh. The UC. Oh wow, just limit me. Just limit. I give you an answer and you're like, no, 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 no. Screw you, Merrick. That's too obvious. You need to actually think about your answer. I'm trying to think of a mobile suit that you ride, that another mobile suit rides. I'm really petty. Oh god, what would be something ostentatious, overpowered, but under... Okay. And like, I was gonna say something ostentatious, really powerful, but underutilized. You know, something that's like really, really good, but you wouldn't like, and you can see it's really good. But like the first thing that came to mind is I forget what it's called, but it's like I think it's the Bylorant when Jared pilots it. That's one of the first things that came to mind. The Bylorant, an absolutely amazing mobile suit. The problem is it was piloted by Jared. Poor Jared. He thought he was the Char of that show, and he was a complete jobber. But maybe the first thing that comes to mind is the Bylorant, just something that you're like, this is amazing, but you don't see it fully utilized until Gundam Unicorn. So you don't really appreciate just how amazing it is until you think of it in proper context, which is kind of like Gold Ship, where you're like, this is a really good horse, and then you hear more about the horse and you understand more of the context of the horse, and you're like, this horse was like really good and didn't give a damn. And if it gave a damn, it probably would have been one of the best like it is already one of the best horses in history. And if it gave more of a damn, it could be the best horse, but it just didn't give a damn. I'm doing good. How are you, Johnny? Ooh. Kurishiki Gold Ship can use the Kurishiki. Wait, the Kurishiki? I know the Hyaku Shiki. Wait. What? What joke am I missing out on? Good to hear, good John. What joke am I missing out on, though, Kaze, that you're saying that that you're calling the Hyaku Shiki the Curry Shiki? Is it just the fact that, like, its high grade looks like curry instead of gold? Because I could understand that. It does kind of have, like, a curry paste look to it. It's a weird shade. Ooh. You just mean the Hyaku Shiki? Ooh. Gold, metallic in general, but gold mobile suits especially, it's obvious with, sometimes don't make the best high grade or really gunpla conversions. Because if you want the metallic look, then everything has to be undergated, which can just be too much to do for a mobile suit. Or you just get, as you know, I said earlier, you get like this kind of curry color, which is just, you get this awkward curry gold. Yeah. It's a lot like, that's just what curry powder looks like. It's just curry powder before you throw it into, or at least it's the curry powder I use, which is homemade, but it's turmeric. It has that like rich turmeric yellow to it. That's what it is. It's the turmeric. The Banshee Noir. That's isn't that from, I believe that is from Unicorn, if I remember correctly. But I want to make sure I am getting this correctly. It's the black, like, unicorn looking dude. Yeah. It's the black Gundam from Unicorn. Ooh. I'm also trying to think of, like, because Gold Ship is so defined by being this, like, wonderfully white horse, if, like, Gold Ship should be in a white mobile suit. Then again, you can just, like, take whatever mobile suit you choose and just paint it gold and paint it white, couldn't you? What? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Wait a minute. Turmeric. What I do? What I do? I don't know what I did. Is it? Oh wait, it's because of the white mobile suit commentary. I'd have made it like that. Don't read into it. Don't. You're the one who read into it like that. Okay. Oh, turmeric. Fucking damn it. Turmeric. I don't know puns, man. I'm stupid. Turmeric. I do like turmeric, but holy crap, turmeric stains. It is horrible at. It's really good at staining, which is the problem. Fucking. Oh, I need to make Japusa curry again. Shipusa curry is an original recipe, and it's Japanese curry. It's like half Japanese curry, half American stew, and it's really good. But it's also really, really hard to make correctly because you have to like cook each individual part of the dish exactly the right amount of time. So it can be a bit of a trial to do correctly. He explained it. Thank you, though, Case. The joke is the word itself. I'm pretty dumb. You gotta remember. I can't even blame my. I'd normally be like, oh, I could blame my headache, but I know I'm just I'm a little slow. Um, and then this one goes here. Okay, this is on camera, right? I have this lined up, right? I'm not just like, oh, okay. I see. I see. So this needs to go on top of this. I need to focus to do this. It's a little bit precise. This is a kit that is very high detail for a high grade, and it's kind of throwing me off a little, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, and I have it upside down. It needs to be okay. So every other time you ever use a neck joint, it goes in the other way. So I was effectively psyching myself out like a fool. Another Uma Musume should get in the mobile suit. Ooh, how do I feel bad for her so much? I think it's a good idea to give her the turn A Gundam. I feel like if anyone would get a gym, it would be the Haru. I feel like it's just the underdog Haru. Ooh. Oh, I see. Okay, so I need to plug the. Oh god, there's a lot going on here. Haru would either get an overpowered mobile suit, like you said, like the Turn A Gundam, or it would just get like a mobile suit that isn't necessarily awful, but it's a complete jobber. It never wins. It's always getting beat. It's always getting beat up. Like it's not bad. It's just not the best. So something like a Jim or a Zaku, just something mass produced, but something that people love nonetheless. Something that has a lot of heart and soul to it, but it's never really the hero of the story. And what are I put it in upside down again? I'm a little stupid. Wait a minute, 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 wait a minute. You told me I couldn't use UC Gundams, and now you're using UC Gundams for your headcanons of what they get to use. When I said that Gold Ship gets the Horse Gundam, because that just seems like the most fitting thing ever, just return to horse, you were like, nah, gotta be UC. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, you're just changing the rules arbitrarily on me. Oh, rules for thee, but not for me. I see how it is. We're supposed to be talking about I keep remembering we're supposed to be talking about like Jurassic World. Um who's left to die? Let's just go by that. So I told you how like the mercenaries just died really quickly. Then they go to the Quetzalcoatlus, the pterosaur they need to get the blood of. And there's like this French dude who's like an engineer who he distracts the Quetzalcoatlus and dies. And nobody talks about it really. They're just like, hey, this guy saved our lives. Like this guy like literally sacrificed himself to save us. And they're just like, well, yeah, but that was last scene, so we're just moving on with the story. That wasn't important, like he was meant to die because he's just an expendable character, so we're not supposed to actually grieve for him. We're just moving on. And that's what happens. And it keeps cutting back to the family, and they'll be like, oh, the family, they're being chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but then you're like, yeah, but they're the family, and they're not like none of them are gonna die because they're all the family. Even the douchebag boyfriend's not gonna die because like you don't have the balls. And they're like, you're right, we don't have the balls. Let's cut back to like the main cast. It's like, well, all of them are the main cast, and like the bad guy can't die until the end of the movie, and the ship captain can't die until the end of the movie because you still like need to save that to the end of the movie. And they're like, you're right, let's cut back, and they just keep cutting back and forth like that. Ooh. It's hard. I say bias. Haru too cute. Just kidding. You should get the GM2 or the Nemo. To be fair, the turn A, turn A, yeah, because continuity. In the turn A's continuity, it is the UC. To be fair, and I think also that's true for Age. Is that Age is another? I think Age was also was it Age or something else that was also Tomino, and he's like, yeah, this is the like true ending of Gundam, and it's like you can't just keep making like UC. It's like you can't just keep making AUs and being like, yeah, this is the real ending for Gundam, and it's like, stop that. Like you can't have like this is the ending for the multiverse Gundam turn A, and then be like this is the end for the UC Gundam. Like I think it was Age or something else. I don't want to say it's Age in case it wasn't, but it's just like you can't keep doing this. So you can't just keep going. This is the ending. You can't just be like, I want Tomino to make another AU and just randomly go like, and this is the end point of like Gundam Wings universe. And it's like, that's not even your universe you're making endings to now. Oh god. I just want Tomino just to live his best life, and I just realized you can't move the eye in this. That's so weird. That's so outdated that you can't move the eye in this. Let me get off this nose piece. I don't even have the correct piece out. That I don't know. These are for like I don't know what these are for, but these are not for the face. I just realized that mistakes were made. This is the face point. I'm missing something in Jurassic World. There's something really silly that happens that I skipped over. Oh, for the Titanosaurs. They're like looking for the Titanosaurs. And when they find them, like what they're in a field, and the movie tries to lie to you in like with deceptive camera angles, but like what it is like they're in a field and they're in like, really high tall grass. And they don't see the Titanosaurs until the Titanosaurs stand up. But the problem is that we have a perspective higher than they do in the camera shot, and we can see over the grass, and there are no Titanosaurs. So what they do is they just make so what happens is they're like, oh, the Titanosaurs, we couldn't see them because like they were obscured by the grass in a big hill. When in reality, they just didn't render the Titanosaurs. They just magically appear. But they're like, well, we didn't see it from their perspective. We didn't see it from our perspective. We had a better perspective. Oh my god. Is it like things like that where things just happen and they're just like, yeah, sure, it happens. Like the Tyrannosaurus Rex just disappears at one point. They inflate a giant raft and then push it over, and the T-Rex is just gone. And you're like, did it go into the water or something? Because like it's just gone. It's like, no, it walked away. And it's like, you can't just say the Tyrannosaurus walked away when the whole thing about the Tyrannosaurus is that it's really loud. It can't just disappear like a ninja. It's a Tyrannosaurus. It goes boom, boom. You can feel it walking because it's several tons. It creates a shockwave whenever it walks. That's the characteristic of a T-Rex. You can't just be like, oh no, it just walked, 20 feet over there. It just walked off screen. It's still like here in the area. It literally just walked off screen for that shot. So we're like, ooh, where is it for like 5 seconds? And then we're like, it's right there. What's the point? And the thing is, it's like, well, it also takes like a really big interest in the raft. But when the raft was being inflated and it was watching the raft be inflated, it was like, I don't care about that. But then when the raft is farther away and going down river, it's like, I want that raft now. That thing, it owes me money. And it starts chasing the raft. And it's like, what is happening here? You didn't care about the raft. Now you're like, this raft, it killed my father. I need to get vengeance on it. And it just, it's such a weird sequence. It is not compatible, chat. This is probably the only head we could have had that isn't compatible because the neck's built in. Son of a gun. That would have been so nice to put it on the Zeta's dismantled body. What's the point? Basically, Star Wars moment, General Grievous, you're shorter than Ooh. Ooh. There's so many. It's all. It is kind of a. If you're talking about the Titanosaurs, it is just they just come out of nowhere. Also, there's like 100 Titanosaurs. Like at first they show us like 4 Titanosaurs, and you're like, okay. And then they do a wide shot, and they show you a shot down the valley, and there's just like dozens, if not over 100 Titanosaurs in the shot. And somebody's probably going to count and be like, there's only like 59 Titanosaurs in the shot. It doesn't matter. These are giant dinosaurs on a tiny island. And these dinosaurs have to eat several acres a day to survive. How does this island have any vegetation on it? How does this island is not just ripped of all of its vegetation and life from these titanosaurs? That's the problem. Like there's this thing called an island biosphere, and there's like all these rules about it. And if you have animals that eat more than the land, like eat more than what the island can provide, they eat everything on the island, then die. That happens in any ecosystem. That's what happens when you have deer and you take away the wolf population. What happens? The deer eat all of like the sprigs, they eat all of the like saplings, they eat everything they can in the area. They reproduce too much, and they continue eating everything until there's nothing left in the area, and then they all die of starvation because they can't, reach the treetops or anything. And you also left with like a ravaged, biosphere in the area for all of like the low growing plants. So like for a whole generation, there's no new trees because all of the small trees that were growing were eaten by all of the, deer and whatnot. Ooh. It was me live on the island. The Rex was but it's just like this is very basic stuff. And it's just it's just very annoying, and I'm kind of realizing just how annoying it is because like what I did after I watched, it was actually like a week after, but that's not important. After I watched Jurassic World Rebirth, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch all of Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Beasts, which is just prehistoric nature documentaries, and it's just night and day. Like the narrative is so much better in Walking with Dinosaurs. Like you sit down with Walking with Dinosaurs and you have like scenes and you're like, oh dude, like they introduce these pterosaurs in the 4th episode, and like this pterosaur, wasn't able to find a good mating spot, and he's perilously close to, like the break in the ocean, and he's probably gonna die there. And that's set up for later in the episode when the pterosaur we follow can't find a good mating spot and ends up overexerting himself and dying of exhaustion. And you're like, damn. Like it primes you. Like they do little things like that in each episode that primes you for the coming like horror later on in the episode if there is, or the high points later on. Like it's crazy. Oh goodness, I think actually one thing we're gonna do before we end stream, if you'll humor me, because I always fail at doing this. Actually, we'll continue building a little more. I don't know if we're gonna build the arms, but oh, it's a hobby Hizack, so it doesn't have any weapons. Duh. Huh. I was gonna say we're gonna build the weapons because we build the weapons on the first stream because I never build them on the second. But I guess that's not really an option, is it? We'll build a little more, but we probably won't build too much more. We'll get at least started on the arms, I think. Oh god. That's actually something in... Thank you for... Actually, it's an Apatosaurus, I think, in Walking with Dinosaurs that mate. Because they're just like, it's dinosaurs mating, it's a nature documentary, it happens. You don't see anything. But there's a scene in Jurassic World Rebirth where the Titanosaurs are like loving on each other. They're like, being like, ooh, they're like really getting like into one another. And the main character is just standing under them while it's happening. Like they're not mating, but like at any moment they could start mating because they're animals. Like they could be getting frisky and just start mating or something. And it's just like everyone has just made the joke is like, what if they just start mating and he just gets crushed under them while they're mating? Because he's just standing right next to a dinosaur that could lift up its foot and crush him at any moment. This is a titanosaur. They are big. Titan is in the name. It it's just all so silly at times. I think what I'm going to do is actually be a little awkward here, but I'm going to start with doing the shoulder pads. Just so those are done and the stickers are applied, because these are going to have some annoying stickers I can see. I think this is what I'm going to want to get done. And I just realized that it's too late for it to matter. But what I should have done is I should have painted this gray. This vent, I should have painted it gray, then done it. Then done the panel liner over top of the Vallejo. Which I've done before and it actually looks fine. I might still do that. I might get the lighter fluid out. Never a gunplay stream if I don't bring up the lighter fluid. I might get the lighter fluid out and clean that out. The movie has so many problems that even Pippa is like, I'd rather just not, like, it has enough problems that it forces even normal people to think about them. And Pippa, who's very, I'll just say, she's kind of normie when it comes to movies, is like, even Pippa was like, I wasn't a fan. And she saw Joker 2 and was like, Joker 2 is really good. I don't understand why you hate it, chat. And it's like, because it's an anathema to everything of the first film. I didn't watch the first movie. What do you mean you didn't watch the first movie, Pippa? I was like, I didn't watch the first movie. Then why were you interested in watching the second one? Not the lighter fluid. The lighter fluid is very useful. We love the lighter fluid here. We do not inhale the lighter fluid, though. Not on stream, at least. Maybe that's why I have a headache. Don't give yourself brain damage, chat. You heard it here first. Ooh. Oh, the real horror is a gun tank getting a Verka because it's a original mold. Oh my god, oh god. Also, the T-Rex kind of just disappears. It's really weird after its sequence. Like, it chases the raft, but then they go, like, behind a wall in the river, and there's just a wall in the river, don't ask questions. And the T-Rex could easily, like, just mount the wall, walk over it, or walk around it. Like, it's in a valley, but you could see on the sides of it, like, the sides of it are high. Like, the shoreline is higher up, so, like, it's closer to the wall, and on the shoreline to the edge, the T-Rex could just walk over to the shore, the edge, and just walk over the wall. And it just doesn't. It's just like, oh, those people, they got on the other side of the... Oh, God. Wait. Ah! Stream crash. 1 minute. Stream, come back. Ooh, woo. 1 sec. Oh, it says that I have a strong enough signal, but it says we're dead. So I don't know if I am dead or not is the problem. Let me... Yeah, okay. Oh, we had a signal interruption, which is normal because actually it's 1 o'clock and that's when it's supposed to happen. We good? We good. Okay. I didn't do anything. I don't think my message went through. I sent 1 second. It did not go through. I don't know when it froze, so I don't know when like that. I don't know what I was saying, so we're just gonna move on. I was talking about how the T-Rex was a jobber, and yeah, that's just true. He's an absolute joke. He doesn't accomplish anything. Not because he doesn't kill anyone, but he doesn't even break the raft. He doesn't even pop the raft. He's an absolute joke of a T-Rex. He doesn't accomplish nothing. He doesn't even. I don't even think he kills another dinosaur. He doesn't do nothing. He just is there. He exists. That's all he is. Now the best dream ever for you. Ooh. God, I need to see. I need to see what perfect grades there are. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I have any interest in building a perfect grade outside of my Zaku, but maybe just in case. I've seen so many Zeta Gundam perfect grades though, just like the boxes. It seems that that's either one of the more popular ones or it's just more printed. I don't know which one. What? Error while sending message. Yes, I am aware that I had an error sending the message. Request had invalid authentication credentials. Expect auth access token, login cookie. I'm just gonna move that. I'm not gonna exit out of that because I'm afraid it's gonna crash OBS somehow. But it's saying that message I tried to send when stream was down didn't send. Thank you. Okay, cool story, bro. That's what it's telling me. But because it's OBS, I'm terrified if I close that, it'll close all of OBS somehow. Perfect grade unleashed. Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to finish this. We need to finish the shoulder pads. And then we'll do the arms and legs tomorrow. Well, probably not tomorrow. I don't think I'll be in as high spirits to chat tomorrow. We might do a reading or something. I really don't like doing talkie streams back to back, but then yeah, I just like to get like a bunch of pointless things to talk about. Whoa, what's happening in Jurassic World? We're supposed to be talking about this movie and we're just doing a really bad job at it. It's just been a really poor job. I have like a lot of notes about Jurassic World. I haven't consulted them once. I haven't looked at the notes yet. I've just been remembering. Let's just go to the finale of the movie. Let's just skip there. So everyone gets to like the point where they're supposed to be rescued by the helicopter. And they're all like there. But then when evil businessman arrives, the daughter who fell into the water is like, "Hey, he's the reason I fell into the water. He pushed me in and then let me fall in." When what happened from like the film's perspective, we see what happened. She pushes him, and somehow her pushing him causes her to fall, like fly backwards, and then fall off the boat. But like before she falls off the boat, she falls on like she like is on the edge for a second, and he's like fallen back and hit his head, and like he looks at her for a second, and he's like, "Is that her?" And then she falls off, and she's like, "Yeah, he threw me off the boat." No, you threw yourself off the boat, and while he was trying to get his senses, he saw you, got confused on how you got there. Because I would be confused too. I'd be like, wait a minute, didn't she push me? How did she get there? And then you fell off like a moron. That's what happened. Stream elements. Merrick Vesper is now live. Thank you. Thank you, Twitch, for telling us. So I guess that means that's restarted. That's the backpack, but I'm just getting that out. I need to find the F pieces. I need to find these pieces. I need to find these things. I need to know where they are. I need to be one with them. I need to learn my ABCs. A's for the apple that he gave to me before he said goodbye. How do I not remember more of that song? It's Lang Tree's Lament from Over the Garden Wall, and I listen to that song all the time, and I just, I got to A, B, and I don't remember what C is. Ooh. Is it C is for the crook that is Jimmy Page, the man who took my heart? Can't quite remember. And why can I not find F? I want to finish this build for today, and I can't find... I don't know where the sprue is, and I'm really sorry about that. I am actually looking for it right now. Okay. 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 When we come back... Okay. Okay. Come back. Come on. I know why this is happening. I know why this is happening. It's because that motherfucker is stream surfing right now. Come on. For fuck's sake. Are we back? Are we back? No. I know exactly why this is happening. I'm just gonna have to assume we're live enough for me to say this. Probably not. But we're just gonna end. I'm gonna put up the endings, like the ending screen, and we're just gonna have the ending screen, and we'll be back later to finish all of this up. I'm not gonna